Right, so some of you are probably wondering, what's up with that title? And no, it is not a typo, it is an actual word, meaning someone who aspires to be someone else. A wannabe, a kid trying to act tough. For example, you still a buster to me, CJ. Or, ha ha, here's a little something for you busters. Now, when it came to having an opinion on the 2016 Ghostbusters movie, you were damned if you did, so I kept quiet. And just when I thought it was safe to come out and say my piece, the people at Red Letter Media put out a 58-minute review. But as our suppository of all wisdom once said,
it happens.
Furthermore, they didn't cover the things I wanted to talk about, so I'm gonna go through with it anyway. If you wanted a longer, more in-depth review, I will leave a link to theirs in the description. My first grievance here is with the lack of urgency. The ghosts just don't seem to be attacking people. They just kind of hover around and vomit once in a while. They're more of a general nuisance, if anything. And the movie, it started with such a promising opening scene. Somebody was trapped in a room where the floor turns into some green glowing stuff and it rises up to get him. It seemed like he was done for, but then this highly important character came back for just one other scene so they could make a joke about him soiling himself. For a moment there, it looked like there was some actual danger, like the ghosts were an actual threat that needed to be dealt with. The only person who was actually killed by a ghost in this movie was Bill Murray, simply because he had the misfortune of being between a pterodactyl ghost and the nearest window, rather than a deliberate assault. And I know the originals didn't have a very high body count either, but at least they had interdimensional beings wanting to destroy the world rather than start some contrived dance-off. I also have a bone to pick with the humor. I'll start off with credit where it's due. Some of the jokes were actually funny, like the firehouse scene. You know, instead of being a rundown dump like the original, it's pristine and spotless, and instead of complaining, they talk about how great the place is. I mean, of course they're gonna be based in a firehouse. That's where the originals operated. And just as it seems like a done deal, they're shut down by the price, and it cuts to them setting up in a cheap office upstairs from a Chinese restaurant. Now, it built up to something and turned our expectations on their heads. This was clever and funny, but it lost points because the joke relied on the originals. References and improvisation aside, it seemed like the writers didn't understand how half the jokes were supposed to work. For example, they go to this concert to deal with the pterodactyl thing, and the guy who saw it says he must have scared it off with his shriek, and that he's told he has a very disturbing scream. My immediate thoughts were, he's gonna scream like a girl. And then he did. You see, what makes the man with the girly scream funny is that the audience isn't expecting someone who looks like that to sound like that. They have effectively spoiled what was already a tired cliche. And before you go on saying, oh, I'd like to see you do better, let me do just that with Michael Hatt, because I could feel a part of my brain die when I heard this one. So at Chris Hemsworth's job interview, he asks what sounds like, can I bring my cat? To which one of them replies, I'm allergic to cats. He then goes on to say, he's actually a dog. His full name is Michael Hatt. There's a little more back and forth before he says the dog lives with his mum, and that's the end of it. We never see or hear about Michael Hatt the dog ever again. My version of this would start by drawing it out as long as possible. So Hemsworth says, can I bring my cat? The other one says, I'm allergic to cats. Actually, he's a dog. His full name is Michael Hatt. I'm allergic to dogs. No, I meant it as in a gangster sense, like he's my dog, yo! Michael Hatt is actually a bird. And then the third one says, I'm allergic to birds. Did I say bird? I meant goldfish. And by goldfish you mean? Michael Hatt is a goldfish. Are you sure? Yes. And they give up at this point. Fine, you can bring your goldfish. I can bring Michael Hat? Yes, you can bring Michael Hat. But it doesn't stop there. He shows up to work with a goat, and they ask, "What the hell is this?" To which he replies, "Michael Hat. You told us he was a goldfish." Unfortunately, he passed away. This is Michael Hat II. And then throughout the rest of the movie, we see this goat getting in the way, breaking things and being generally obnoxious. But in the end, when Hemsworth is possessed, Michael Hat wanders over and reminds him of his humanity for long enough for our heroes to spring in and save the day. Once, of course, they've gotten over the shock of Michael Hat actually doing something useful. Now, I'm not going to heap on self-praise. I don't know if that was any good or not, but at least it went somewhere, tied in with the storyline, and wasn't completely pointless. The humor and this scene in particular lead into my biggest grievance of all: the perception that this is a feminist movie. You see, it takes place in a world where these four women are the only people the slightest bit competent, and all the men do is get in the way and cause problems. The joke here is that it's supposedly the other way around in real life. Get it? This sounds like something the whitest kids you know would have in their Black Doctor sketch. Roll the clip.
He was a young, well-to-do stock trader shopping for a gift for his fiancée, until one fateful day when he accidentally broke a priceless vase. Now the tables have turned and this young go-getter must spend his life in service to this eccentric Asian shopkeeper. Check out the hilarious new show, Yuppie Indentured Servant.
Well, the problem with your pitch is that the show is racist.
What? It's a fish out of water story.
Okay, but the fish out of water story is that it's weird for a white man to be a slave to an Asian man, which suggests that the norm would be the other way around.
I guess. Whatever. So do you like it?
No.
Ah, shit burgers. I got another one.
Okay.
Want to see it?
Sure.
Well, he was riding his bike when there was a lightning strike, and now he reads real fast. He's good at science and math. Black Doctor.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Where exactly did he get the bike?
He stole it.
Right, that's what I thought. You know, I don't think we're going to be going down the road with Black Doctor.
Really? Damn it. Okay, I got one more.
Go ahead.
It's called Jewtown.
Nope.
How about Too Many Lesbos?
Nope.
What's the deal with Mexican tits?
Go away.
So in this fictional world, Yuppie Indentured Servant or Black Doctor would not get made, but the 2016 Ghostbusters did? I mean, you can see the point here about how turning an offensive stereotype on its head does not automatically make it funny or less offensive. And the worst example of this was when they hired Chris Hemsworth as their secretary. Not because he had the faintest hint of intelligence or was in any way qualified, but because of the way he looked. They keep him around for eye candy and not so subtly try to hit on him once in a while. Is objectifying men supposed to be somehow empowering? Well, it bloody well shouldn't. For anybody. Really, objectification is just degrading for the party being treated as a piece of meat and insulting for those who are portrayed as unable to control their base urges. I can't speak for women, but when the shoe is on the other foot, I don't go, "Yeah, go get him, Tiger! That's my man! I'm proud to be associated with this kind of behavior!" No, I shake my head and go, "Good God, is this what society expects of me?" Objectification is highly frowned upon, so it should automatically translate into comedic gold. I mean, let's not forget that this is a comedy. It's being played for laughs. Get it, ladies? The idea that you can look at men in the same way as men look at you is apparently a joke. Furthermore, feminism is about equality, not superiority. And does anybody remember the real Ghostbusters TV show, where their secretary Janine would occasionally put on the uniform, strap on a proton pack, and bail the guys out when they were in trouble, proving herself a valuable member of the team and just as capable as they are. Now that was real feminism, unlike whatever the hell this was. Alright? Each for their own. It's not my cup of tea, but I have no problem with other people liking this movie. And while I'm open to discussing and debating the merits of this film, if you are going to bring feminism, sexism, or any other kind of ism into this conversation, you've got some explaining to do first. Once again, I thank you for tuning in to Alternative Factors. I'm Connor O'Loughlin, and I have an opinion of this movie too. So come at me, Internet. I ain't afraid of no roast.